Hello students, how are you? In the previous video of the chapter tissues, we discussed complex tissues. Okay, very important for with respect to plants. They were xylem and phloem. Okay, we discussed their properties like xylem. It was the tissue that transports water and nutrients from root to upper parts, composed of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. Tracheid, then we discussed them separately. That tracheids were long elongated cells, vessels pipe like structures, and dead cells. Okay, then xylem parenchyma were living, they stored food, and xylem fibers were dead cell. Then we discussed phloem, that it was a tissue that transports food from the site of photosynthesis to different parts of the plant, composed of sieve cells, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fiber. All were living except the phloem fiber, means phloem fibers were dead cell. Then very important thing, that sieve cells are elongated and have thin cell wall. They have cytoplasm but no nucleus and other organelle. These cells are responsible for transportation of food and nutrients. Companion cells have cytoplasm, nucleus and other organelle. They perform the task required for sieve cells for living. Okay, phloem parenchyma stores food. Fibers have thick cell wall and they provide mechanical support to the plant. So that was the last topic related to the plant tissue. Okay, we have discussed many. We discussed the meristematic tissue, then permanent tissue. Okay, this complex tissue comes under the permanent tissue. We studied two types of tissues under permanent, that was simple and complex tissue. So I hope students that it is clear to all of you. Okay, it's very important. Today that we are going to start new topic is animal tissues. Okay, in the previous video I told you something, a basic introduction about the animal tissue. So the tissues that we are going to study under animals are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, nervous tissue and muscular tissue. Okay, in this video we shall take a look at epithelial tissue and nervous tissue. Okay students, we will be telling everything about epithelial tissues, their types and details, and then nervous tissue. Okay, so shall we start? Okay, animal tissues. Animals move around in search of food, mates and shelter. Most of the tissues they contain are living, very important. And when we were studying of plant, we were saying that most of the tissues were dead, or most of the cells that were dead. Why? Because they needed for their support, they do not move. The structural organization of organs and organ system is far more specialized and localized in animals than in plants. Definitely, what is it trying to say? Far more specialized and localized means the function of a particular tissue is far more specific. Okay, and it has nothing to do with what the other tissue is doing or other cell is doing. Okay, it is localized and far more specialized. So let's start with the first tissue, that is the epithelial tissue. Are you ready students? Shall we start? Okay, take a look. Epithelial tissue, they form covering of external surfaces, internal cavities and organs of animal body. They form the external surfaces, very important, external surfaces, internal cavities means the lining of the internal cavity of, and organs, hollow organs of the animal body, internal lining. Okay, epithelial tissues, cells are tightly packed and form a continuous sheet like structure. They form a continuous sheet like structure, tightly packed. The skin, lining of mouth, lining of blood vessels, lung, alveoli and kidney tubules are all made of epithelial tissue. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. What is the main function? They form the covering, or you can say external surfaces and internal lining also. Clear? So if they are forming the covering or external surfaces, definitely what will be the main function? Their main function will be the protection. Okay, is it clear? Let's move on to the functions of the epithelial tissue. Take a look students. Epithelium covers most organs and cavities within the body. It forms a barrier to keep different body systems separate. Permeability of cells of various epithelia. There are we will study different kinds of epithelial tissues. So it is saying that permeability of the cells of various different kind of epithelia play an important role in regulating the exchange of materials between the body and external environment. Okay, the different types of epithelial tissues may be different in permeability. So what the transport of the substance has to be done, it is also depends on the epithelial tissue, because they are forming the outermost boundary, and if anything has to go out of the cell, then it need to cross that boundary also. So okay, so it is also dependent on the epithelial tissue, and it is forming the covering of the most organs, so it also serves as the function of protection. Clear, students, about epithelial tissue? So after discussing the basics of the epithelial tissue, now let's move on to the next one, that is the types of epithelial tissue. Students, it's going to be very important. Okay. First, simple squamous epithelium. In cells lining blood vessels or lung alveoli, where transportation of substance occurs through a selectively permeable surface, there is a simple, flat and extremely thin kind of epithelium which is named as simple squamous epithelium. Very important. See where it is present. Simple squamous in cells lining blood vessels. You know, because between there is in some blood vessels exchange of gases also takes place. That place is known as capillaries. Or lung alveoli. Again, in alveoli also the gases exchange takes place, and where transportation of substance occurs through a selectively permeable surface, there is a simple, flat and extremely thin kind of epithelium. Extremely thin kind, because you know, if exchange has to be taken place, then the membrane should be very thin, so the substance can easily pass, like the gases. Okay, which is named as simple squamous epithelium. Now where it is found? It is found in lining of mouth, esophagus, lung, alveoli, etc. Getting, students? Lungs, as we told you, alveoli, in lungs alveoli, and also in lining of blood vessels. Getting? So this was the simple squamous epithelium. They said that they are extremely thin and flat and also form a delicate lining. Okay. The skin also, the skin which protects the body is also made of squamous epithelium. Okay, but it is not simple squamous. The skin is not of simple squamous. We will be discussing in later. It is also the squamous, also of made up of thin layers, but it is not simple squamous epithelium. I hope simple squamous is clear to you. What is the main characteristic of simple squamous? That the cells, it is simple, flat and extremely thin. Okay, and present where the transportation of substance has to occur. Clear? Now next is stratified squamous epithelium. Getting, student? Stratified squamous epithelium. Skin which protects the body. I told you that the skin also have squamous epithelium, but different kind, not simple squamous. Skin which protects the body is also made of squamous epithelium. Skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear. Since they are arranged in a pattern of layers, the epithelium is called stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, whenever there will be a layer, a pattern of layers, then the name will become stratified. Okay, strata means different layers. The simple meaning of a word strata is layers. So stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified means then there will be a pattern of layers. Again, skin also squamous epithelium, but a specific epithelium, that is stratified squamous epithelium. You can see there are many layers. Okay, the cells will be same. There will be extremely thin. Okay, very thin cells, flat cells, but they will be in layers this time, not a single layer. In simple squamous there was a single layer of simple, flat and extremely thin kind of cells. Okay, but in this one there will be many layers of it. Okay, so this is one is the stratified squamous epithelium. Clear, students? Very important, students. You have to understand it very well and you have to learn it also. Okay, again, simple squamous epithelium, simple, flat and extremely thin kind of epithelium. Okay, only a single layer is present in the cells of lining of blood vessels, lung alveoli. But if similar kind of tissue is present in pattern of layers, then it is stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, for example, skin. Clear, students? Okay, so now we are moving on to the next one, that is columnar epithelium. Okay, columnar epithelium. They are found where absorption and secretion occurs, as in the inner lining of the intestine, tall epithelial cells are present and are named as columnar epithelium. If the word comes absorption and secretion, then the first thing that will come to our mind is intestine, because you know the absorption of the maximum absorption of the food takes place in the intestine, and also the secretion of digestive juices also takes place there. Okay, it also takes place in the stomach, but absorption and secretion both, and maximum absorption takes place in the small intestine. Okay, so it is saying that in the inner lining of intestine, tall epithelial cells are present and are named as columnar epithelium. You can see column, so columns are quite tall. Okay, so that's why it is named as columnar epithelium. Second, in respiratory tract, on outer surfaces of epithelial cells there are hair like projection called cilia. Now, some columnar epithelium that are present in respiratory tract. Now I'm talking of a specific part, that is respiratory tract. These columnar epithelium have cells, or these epithelium have hair like projection, and that hair like projection are called cilia. Getting? And this kind of epithelium is known as ciliated columnar epithelium. Very important, because of presence of the cilia on the columnar epithelium, it is known as ciliated columnar epithelium. What is the function of cilia? This cilia can move, and their movement pushes the mucus forward to clear it. Okay, if sometimes any microorganism is trapped in our respiratory tract in the mucus, so it tries to come out with the help of cilia. The cilia tends to push it outside. Okay, because of the movement of cilia. So again, it is a very important function. It traps the microorganism. Okay, and where it is present, especially in the respiratory tract, on outer surfaces of the epithelial cells there are hair like projection that are called cilia. Okay, the cilia moves, and with the help of that movement the mucus also is pushed forward. The name of such kind of epithelium is ciliated columnar epithelium. Clear, students? Next kind of epithelium tissue is the cuboidal epithelium. Okay, till now we have discussed simple squamous epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, and columnar epithelium. Now, cuboidal in shape, as the name suggests, they will be cuboidal in shape and forms the lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary gland. Okay, ducts of salivary glands, they are present in ducts of salivary gland, and the kidney tubules, they are tubules present inside the kidneys. In some cases, a portion of epithelial tissue folds inwards to form a multicellular gland, and this is called glandular epithelium. Glands that secrete different kinds of enzymes, and it performs function of secretion and absorption. Okay, so because the main functions of the glands is to secrete, so they are known as glandular epithelium. They are basically it is a part of cuboidal epithelium. Okay, in some cases portion of epithelial tissue folds inwards to form a multicellular gland, and this is called glandular epithelium. Clear, students? Okay, now this diagram will help you to understand better. First of all, we discuss the simple squamous epithelium. Okay, we discussed today the simple squamous epithelium. What was it saying? The cells is a simple, flat, and extremely thin kind. You can see they are very flat and extremely thin kind of cells. Then same time squamous, but it was stratified. In stratified, I told you there will be a pattern of layer. There will be layers. There will not be a single layer. Okay, many layers. So you can see the stratified squamous epithelium. This is present in skin. Okay, this is very important. The question asked is where it is present. So stratified squamous epithelium is present in beneath the skin, which protects. Okay, simple squamous, it is present in the cells lining blood vessels, lung alveoli, etc. Because whether the substance exchange has to take place. Okay, so there need to be a thin lining. So that's why the simple squamous epithelium. Then we discussed cuboidal epithelium. Again, you can take a look. They are cuboidal in shape, and where they are found in the lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary gland. In some cases, I told you they may form a multicellular gland, and that is called glandular epithelium. Main function is to secrete and absorb. Okay, now the another one was columnar epithelium. Okay, take a look. The cells are also quite different. They are column like. Okay, now difference between the columnar and cuboidal is you can see the position of the nucleus. In simple cuboidal, the position of the nucleus is quite in center, but in simple columnar it is just at the surface. You can see the position of the nucleus in the simple columnar is at the base. Okay, so this one is also a very important property, that the nucleus of the simple columnar cells is just present at the base. Okay, and very important about simple columnar, that in respiratory tract they have hair like projection that is called cilia. Okay, and these cilia can move they can move, and their movement pushes the mucus and it helps to clean whatever microorganism have been trapped. Okay, and this kind of epithelium are known as ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay, you need to remember the name, students. Okay, now this is the difference between simple and stratified. You can see squamous, simple squamous, and then the stratified squamous. Now I hope you are understanding the difference. Simple squamous, a single layer; stratified squamous, then there is a layer. Then again similarly in cuboidal, simple cuboidal, a single layer, and stratified cuboidal, there is a layers, more layers. Now columnar, simple columnar, actually this kind of simple columnar, this is the ciliated columnar. Okay, because you can see the hair like projection are present. You can see this one, hair like projection are present, so that's why this is known as ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay, then again why it is said stratified, because now there is a layer of columnar like of cells. Okay, so this diagram basically clears you what is the difference between simple and stratified. Means if you remove the word simple and put the stratified, it means that it is the layer of same kind of tissue. If I say simple cuboidal and stratified cuboidal, means all the cells are like cuboidal epithelium. Stratified, there is a layer. Clear, students? So now I hope that all these are clear to you. The types of epithelial tissue: simple squamous, stratified squamous, columnar epithelium, and cuboidal epithelium. Okay, students? So after discussing the epithelial tissue, let's move on to the next kind of tissue that is present in the animals, that is the nervous tissue. Okay, students? The cells of nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. Okay, they are said to be highly specialized because the stimulus is need to be transferred with the speed very quickly. Otherwise, if you are touching the hot object and the stimulus does not come quickly, then what will happen? It can burn your hand if you will not remove the hand quickly. It occurs within a fraction of seconds. Even it does not take seconds. It occurs within a fraction of a second. Means you touch the hot object and you immediately remove. It means that sensation went to your nervous system, nervous tissue, and then immediately it responded and you remove the hand. Clear? So that's why the cells of nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated. Means they first stimulate, they first sense it, and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. Okay, brain, spinal cord, and nerves are all composed of nervous tissue. Getting, students? Brain, spinal cord, and nerves are all composed of nervous tissue because these are the part of nervous system. Then the cells of nervous tissue are called neurons. Cells of nervous tissue are called neurons. A neuron consists of a cell body, an axon, and a dendrite. Clear, students? So this is what about nervous tissue. It is quite a short topic in this. Okay, so main thing that you need to learn is that the cells of nervous tissue are highly specialized. It is brain, spinal, and nerves. All are composed of nervous tissue. The cells of nervous tissue are called neurons. Okay. So students, this is the diagram of a neuron, means the cell of a nervous tissue. Take a look. There is this complete cell body. Okay. Then there is an axon, nerve ending also, dendrite, and nucleus. What happens here? These dendrites. Okay. Take a look. These dendrites takes the stimulus from wherever it is coming, and then they transfer it toward the cell body. Okay. Inside, and then the movement takes place through the axon and to the nerve ending, and from nerve ending to another neuron. Means this is a single cell. Okay, there will be thousands of millions of cells like this, so they all will be connected. So from nerve ending to the dendrite of the next neuron. In this way the stimulus is passed on. Okay, again from the dendrite carries the stimulus, receives, or I can say receives the stimulus, then it is moved towards the cell body, from cell body to the axon, axon to the nerve ending, and then nerve ending to the next neuron, or you can say the dendrite of the next neuron. Okay, there is also a nucleus. So this is what a structure of neuron looks like. Okay students. So students, in this video we discussed about epithelium tissue and the nervous tissue. I hope it is clear. In the next video we will be discussing about muscular tissue and the connective tissue. Okay, so take care of yourselves, stay inside your house, keep studying, and thank you very much.